What's going on, boys? Hope you're all doing well. We got another one here from Man Guide today. Another female dating coach quits. Even women admit other women are too picky. So we are going to be looking through some examples of women and their impossible standards.
Nice.
I just want you guys to know, there's no way that I'm gonna date a man that makes under 200K a year. That don't even make no sense. I'm not trying to struggle. I can struggle by myself, okay? Why would I want to struggle with a man? So if you're not making 200K, you can't date me. You trying to date me? I only date millionaires, baby. Like, you better get it right. Too many times you had it wrong. Don't be in my inbox. Working where? Where you work? That's the only question I got. Where you work?
I'm not even going to respond to this, bro.
Then I could decide.
No.
Stand up in the motor, bust the dashboard.
Okay, there are 8 million people in this city. Sounds like a lot, right? Half of them are women. So 4 million men. And then you gotta have some age limits. Let's say over 20,
keep it legal,
under 40.
keep it sexy.
Now it's a million.
Right. We're talking about a million guys.
But half of them are married. 10% are gay. I want someone college educated, not too ugly. So
There's your boyfriend.
I wish. He's gotta be taller than me. And he's gotta want kids.
Bro, their standards, it's just so funny because, like, it's never going to happen. They're just going to keep getting older and older and older. They're never going to end up finding this magical unicorn of a guy that they're looking for. And it's, like, funny, but it's also sad at the same time just because it's, like, our society is literally collapsing from the inside out and people just don't even understand. You know, it's like they don't even recognize the effect that the dating market has on the rest of society. And they're just like, no, they're just going to stick with their impossible standards. They're going to stick with the impossible standards, sleep around with the same guys. It's just like, you know, this shit never changes.
I'm on top, I ain't looking down. Only when I'm riding dicks, when I'm looking down. Love pulling on his chains, missionary style. He like, baby, do your thing.
Alright, I saw one of my followers make a list of superficial dating requirements, so now I'm going to show you guys my list. Disclaimer, this is my preference. Again, it is superficial. If you want to argue, go argue with your mother, not me. Coming in at number 1, I need you to be at least 5'10". Listen, I'm a short girl. I'm only 5'2", 5'3".
Bro.
And this is where the logic comes in with that. If I'm wearing 3-inch heels, I am almost 5'6". If you are 5'7", 5'8", you're only 2 inches taller than me. If I can look you eye level, immediate ick. I don't want it. The difference between my height and your height when I'm wearing heels, it needs to be at a long distance relationship. You need to be bigger than me. And this is what I mean by that. I like to go to sleep in my man's t-shirt. I want to be like, hey babe, pass me a t-shirt. And that t-shirt, I need to be swimming in it. If your clothes fit me like my own clothes, you might as well be borrowing my clothes at that point. It's not going to work for me. It's going to give me another ick. I need you to know how to dress, okay? Because I'm bougie, I go out to hella events, I like to show up, show out on occasion, and there's a time and place to dress like a bum, okay? And I don't need you to be embarrassing me. Number 4, you cannot be dating me and have bad teeth. I am a dentist. It is embarrassing if you do that. We have Motto or Invisalign for straightening teeth. You don't even have to get the regular braces at this point. If you are collecting sneakers on a daily, you can be putting that money into monthly installments to fix your teeth. Also, please have good oral hygiene. I'm gonna need you to floss every day. Emphasis, every day. And to add to the teeth rule, if you're missing a tooth, goodbye. That means the decay was so bad, the tooth was non-restorable, and then you had to get it pulled. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This might be a controversial take, but I tried to date blue-collar men, aka men that don't have any type of degree. I'm not with it. I want a white-collar man. I have 3 degrees. I have my bachelor's, master's, and doctorate, so it kind of needs to make sense. Education is very important to me. I'm also Asian. It's instilled into my culture. I want you to at least have a bachelor's degree. It's a non-negotiable for me. Next point, provider mindsets. I'm going to need you to be making the same money as me or more. I'm going to only be dating in my tax bracket or higher because let's be real, men that make less money than me, and unfortunately it's a lot of men, they're going to feel incompetent. They're going to feel inferior because their ego gets in the way. I also want to retire soon. I want to be a part-time stay-at-home wife, and if you can't help provide that for me or provide the lifestyle that I can provide myself alone, then you're not adding anything to my life. Next. And lastly, I
Holy
must like your
shit, bro.
voice. This is a big one. If I match with you on a dating app, I'm gonna send you a voice note, and then I need you to send me a voice note back. If I don't like your voice, I'm deleting you. That is all.
Oh my God. So this is the funny thing, is that a lot of people will say, oh, women aren't hypergamous or whatever. And yet everything that she had on that list basically shows exactly what we talk about. Height, minimum 5'10". So we got to be taller than she is. You got to make more money than she does. You got to be, a white collar worker. You can't be a blue collar worker, which is actually freaking hilarious because so many people have gone to college and gotten these degrees that it's basically devalued the degree and the jobs that you can get, especially with the rise of AI coming. A lot of white collar jobs are going to be eliminated. And I'm not saying that you can't make good money, obviously, with a college degree. I'm just saying ruling out blue collar workers because you think they're not going to make enough money is hilarious, because including me and a lot of the other blue collar workers I know who do blue collar work make more money than a lot of graduates do coming out of college. It's like, so just basing that off of that is just so stupid. And then the other thing that she's saying is you need to have a provider mindset or whatever and be making as much money or more than her, which is just another perfect example of the hypergamy thing, bro. Like it really is a thing. Like you got to be equal to them or above them in terms of them like respecting you. I guess 3 words for you would just be to get your passport.
Just send me a voice note back. If I don't like your voice, I'm deleting you. That is all.
You look lonely. I can fix that.
These are my requirements for dating. Moving forward, I want the password to your phone, the password to all of your social media accounts. I want to know that I am the only woman that you are pursuing. Even through the hard times, you're not seeking validation on Instagram, Snapchat, or paying $9.99 to some ratchet hoe on OnlyFans. My body will be the only body that you want to see naked, or we're not going to be together. If I'm not enough for you, we're done. Capiche? Capuche.
Do you think that she could also follow these requirements? That's the question. Could she also delete her social media and give you the passwords to her phone? Because if she can't...
I mean, what if I don't want to live the way you live?
Oh, don't be ridiculous, Andrea. Everybody wants this.
Hello, this is Rebecca Lynn Pope coming on real quick. You guys know that I have been swamped lately, but I promised I would come on and just share my viewpoints on why women are just, many women, I'm not going to say all women, but many women are very, very unrealistic about their standards for men, dating, and marriage. So I'm going to give my opinion on this. And now listen, girls, I'm about to be very raw. I'm about to be very real. I'm about to just shoot it to you as just straight as I can, because I'm hoping that this helps somebody. Because as you girls know, I'm a matchmaker. And for a large part of the end of last year and beginning of this year, I stopped matchmaking. And the reason I stopped matchmaking is because I literally was I can't handle female clients. I was a matchmaker that matched females, and I had a few male clients, but predominantly I was matching women. And listen, it was such a valuable lesson for me, because what I learned is that the average woman doesn't really want just a good man. She doesn't want a husband. What she's really wanting are these standards or ideas that she has of what a man is supposed to be. But this is nothing what men are. This is not realistic for who men are, how they think, what they value. It's just this preconceived, idea that women have of who men should be. But this is not reality, okay? So literally, the standards here that I see consistently in women that stay single, do not get married, and the difference between women and wives.
Yeah, and I think we have to understand and accept the fact that social media has been played a really big part in this in terms of women's standards, right? Because now they've been able to get in contact with celebrities. They get DM'd by celebrities. They have the opportunity to look around them and see all these other guys doing much better, or all these other women with these guys who are much higher in status. And then it makes them feel as though, their life isn't going as well, or the guy that they're with, he's not doing as well, or he's a bum compared to this guy. When in reality, on social media, you are seeing literally the top tier, or the people who are like the top 1%ers who really stick out, right? It's the extreme examples. Social media is not a representation of the real world, of like the actual real society of people that keep things going and that keep the system running, right? It doesn't glorify blue collar workers who go out there and literally keep the entire system running so that we even have the opportunity to be on the internet, making these kind of videos, watching these kind of videos, and even being on social media. That happens because there's people behind the scenes actually doing the hard work. And so social media really glorifies everything else besides common things in society, in common people who are actually the foundation and bedrock of why this civilization even exists.
The second standard is this. You're comparing good men to, I can't say this, F-boys. I'm just going to say it. You're comparing good men to the men that you've experienced previously who were not ready to be husbands, that you were just dating, messing around with. I mean, literally, there's a distinct difference between marriage material, men who are ready to be husbands, and these F-boys that you've been messing around with in and out of these situationships with for years. And so now you have this standard for a man and a husband based on these dudes that have just been playboys, fun, boy toys, whatever you want to call it, girls, okay? You can call it whatever you want. But now you set this standard to say he's supposed to look like this, he's supposed to act like that. Oh, you know what? He's too corny. He likes me too much. He texts me too much. Yeah, because the men that you were messing with, you weren't even the only one. They don't text you right back. They don't call you right back because they have 8 more just like you.
They want to have this full package, this unicorn of like this guy who's acts like a fuckboy, right? Who can, lay down in bed, but then also, doesn't text them too much, but also takes care of the kids and is also financially responsible, but doesn't look at other women and doesn't cheat. It's like they want literally this fantasy of a guy that just doesn't exist. If you want a guy who's husband material, that's going to be a guy who acts differently than the guy who, is sleeping around and he's not taking women seriously right now for whatever reason that might be.
Being a good woman. So I'm thinking these women just want to be married. These women just want a good man. Nah, boo, that's not what they wanted. What they want is, if I'm going to pay this money, I want me a Michael Ealy. I want me a Boris Kojo. Well, look, boo, Boris Kojo's married. Last time I checked, Idris Elba's taken. These men are such a small percentage of the population. Do you guys understand that for a man to be over 6'2" is less than 3% of the population? And we're talking all men around the world, less than 3% of the population. Wow. Now you take out the gay guys and you take out the guys that are not black or whatever race specific that you prefer your husband to be, and you take out the men that are broke, and you take out the players, the men who are just not ready and who are not ready to get married, aren't even looking for a wife, don't want that responsibility yet. Think about these numbers. Less than 3%. Less than 14% of the entire American male population is over 6 foot. Less than 14%. And that's all the married men and the men in prison. All of them, girls. So you're sitting around here like, oh, he's got to be 6 foot. And he's got to look like this. And he's got to make 6 figures or 7 figures. When you start at just height alone, do you hear the percentage that I just gave you on just height? Just height. And if you add in what he looks like looking like Idris and making money like this and that, honey, look, you looking for the come up for real, because I don't know where he's at.
Yeah, I think what's concerning about this is what way, how does this play out in the long term, right? I mean, we know birth rates are declining. It's like, how does this play out in the long term? Because if women's hypergamy and they need to just keep climbing as they climb higher and higher and higher, it puts them into this smaller group with these guys who are like, you know, there's only so many guys who are of the status and everything that they want. And it puts them into a smaller and smaller group. It's like, where does it go from here? Like, are they going to eventually lower their standards? Because if they don't, we're going to end up just in a situation where we have literally the vast majority of the population of women single and childless. And we're just going to have an economic population collapse. And this is why I think so many guys are just doing passport bros, because it's just so much easier to go overseas as a guy coming from, you know, America, and just go overseas and find a woman who's not doing all this, right? Doesn't have this whole list of all these, you know, different requirements that she has because of social media and all the fairy tales that have been played in her mind since she was, you know, young, about who she needs to have and all this kind of stuff. So it's just like, bro, we are in a really tough spot right now.
I was matchmaking. I would be like, man, I would go find these incredible men, and they would be like, oh, I would never date him. I'm like, I just went and found a freaking pilot, ex-Falcons player. Are you serious? But he don't look. It's like he's gotta be perfect. But you're not perfect.
Facts.
You got issues and unresolved issues, and you got a temper, and you're bossy, and you're controlling, and men don't even like to be around you long term. You run everybody away. You think you're so much the ish that you're bougie and vain and stuck up, and men don't like it. And you wonder why you can't keep a man. You wonder why nobody wants to be around you.
They need literally everything to be perfect when they themselves aren't even close to perfect. See, here's the thing, is they aren't even asking the question, okay, I want this guy who's going to be, you know, a provider, or like the, you know, the earlier guy said, or the earlier woman said, oh, perfect teeth and isn't blue collar and blah, 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 all these requirements, you know, is 6 feet, whatever. They're not asking the question, hey, what are these guys looking for? Because they're just assuming that they're so valuable and they have everything so together and they're so perfect that these guys are just going to automatically be attracted and want them. But even if they were to somehow find this magical unicorn that they're looking for, they would probably mess up the opportunity because they haven't even put in the work themselves to improve their own mental health, to improve their own attitudes, so that these guys, or even their own physical health, so that these guys would actually find them an attractive partner and actually want to be with them. So just like she's saying, I think this is the big problem we're dealing with in society, and I just don't see how anything's really going to get much better, to be honest.
Literally, they're false standards. They're ridiculous standards. You know what? I'm not gonna settle. But in the meantime, boo, you're not even half the things that you have on your list as requirements for a man. You're not even half those things. But you want that in a man, and you don't want to build with anybody. You don't want to build a life together. Listen, honey, you better find yourself a Build-A-Bear. You need to find yourself a Build-A-Boo. Okay? Somebody that meets some requirements of who you want in character, your values, integrity.
I'm going to stop right there because these 304s have zero values.
You need to find yourself a Build-A-Boo. Okay, somebody that meets some requirements of who you want in character, your values, integrity. I came from dating Mr. Gorgeous. I came from dating Mr. Trainer. I came from dating Mr. Baller. I was flying here and doing this and that. And at the end of the day, all of them were players. They were F-boys. That's just not how it works. Because until a man is ready, he is not going to choose you. It doesn't matter how you put it down in the bedroom. It doesn't matter what kind of values. It doesn't matter how big your butt is and what you look like. Until a man is ready, he is not settling down. And literally, I'm literally writing this. So my compromises came because I had these standards just like most of you that were way up here because I had all these experiences that created an appetite. It created a false standard in my life of what I thought I deserved or what I thought I needed. But yet it was a false standard because none of them were men of God. So like many of you, I had these standards. I had a type. Let's be real, girl. I had a type. My type was businessman. My type was CEO. My type was getting it done. My type was literally go-getter. 6- and 7-figure men running companies. Those are the only kind of men I was in relationships with. Okay, that's what I was committing to. I played with some boy toys from that instead of F-boys, okay, girls? boy toys. I played around thinking I was trying to be serious because of lust. So many of you have fallen in lust. And then you think, and now you want love and you're trying to compare it to lust. And that's not how love works. So you date Mr. Gorgeous and he's got the six pack and he's 6'4" and he's chocolate. And then you date the Mr. Baller and he got money and you in the Benz and you whipping and you flying and you drinking and dinner, whining and dining. And at the end of the day now, you created an appetite for yourself, or you, better yet, maybe you haven't even experienced it for yourself like me, but you want it. So you're on Instagram and you're looking at people's lifestyles and you're looking at people on the scene, traveling and doing all this and comparing yourself and saying, why can't I have that? I want that life too. And then when a good man comes along, you're comparing him saying, no, he's not giving me that lifestyle. I want that I see other people having. I deserve that. I'm just as pretty as that. I need to get me a man that's a baller too. And so now you have these false standards, whether you've experienced it or whether you just want it.
Yeah, this is 100% true, and this is exactly why I try to stay away from social media as much as possible, because even for guys, it creates this paradox where you're like living your life, but then you see other people and other guys doing better than you, and then you start to get down on yourself about, oh, I'm not doing this, blah, blah, blah. The reality is, like I said, social media is fake. It's not like a representation of the general population and most people within society. It always shows the extremes, right? And people are always showing the highlights within their life. And so social media is a very dangerous tool, and it sucks women in extremely hard. I think social media, if you look at the statistics, women use social media like us guys use video games as an escape. And the dangerous part about it is just that it changes their perception of the world itself to make her think that she stands a chance at getting one of these guys. The other problem is that these guys, bro, these guys who are at the top, who, you know, have such high status and they've got all the money and the girls and everything like that, since they are at this level of being these top tier guys, in terms of, I'm not saying like their characteristics or morals or anything, I'm just saying in terms of their status, they now have the option to get whatever girls they want. They have the option to have multiple women. They have the option to do whatever they want because there's so few of them and because all the women are chasing them. So these women will put up with these player guys, but just like she did, right? She used to be flying around going with these guys, but they were all players, so they weren't committed to her. So these guys who have the high status, they have the option to be messing around with as many women as they want, and they're not going to commit to one woman. 9 times out of 10, these guys who are at the top, they're gonna do whatever, they're gonna explore, right? They're gonna play with their options. They're gonna use the success that they've gained over all their life and their years of working hard to now go and do whatever they want when it comes to women. You know, have multiple girlfriends or whatever. And then these women are thinking, oh, you know, I got this guy, but in reality, it's not that way because he's not actually just committed to her. Like, so that's the end of the episode, bro. Again, women's standards just being insane in the West in terms of what they expect. Big part of that is due to social media. Just stay strong out there, bro. Just keep self-improving, you know, level yourself up, because even at the end of the day, if you don't want to deal with these women, you're still better off leveling up yourself, your physical health, your mental health, than to just be giving up entirely and just being like, you know, one of these social media video gamer porn addicts. It's not worth it. So that's my message for today. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next time. Peace.